back to The Unleashing. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. I got my buddy here, Chris, from Perilous Times, and we're going to talk about a few things, mostly the California wildfires and what we think is going on with that, and kind of get some information out here. We got a few minutes, and we'll try and keep this video short, but just to get things started, the California wildfires. Last year during December, and we're talking about middle of winter, I was like, oh, California has a dry season. It's like, yeah, well, there's no way it's that dry. If you've seen some of the videos and stuff like that, fires jumping from car to car, and I'm seeing brick buildings that are just totally been ashed.
You know, California's been having a lot of weird stuff happen for a while with their fires, like the metal melting.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that stuff.
Yeah, there's been all kinds of stuff going on. So what I've been thinking the whole time is, because we've all heard the story that the West Coast gets an invasion from the Chinese and the East Coast gets a Russian attack, you know? Mm-hmm. So I've been keeping an eye on it because if things start to play out like that, you know, I don't ever throw anything away. So I listen to it and I put it in a file, and if it starts to go into it, then I pull that file out, you know? That's what your brain's for. You can hold multiple things. So I've been watching this, but last December I was like, that is extremely suspicious, and the fire season was off the charts. And another thing was this, like, this one vineyard in particular, the whole place gets burned down, but all the vineyard around, nothing gets touched by the flames. It's like this stuff's being pinpointed by lasers and stuff. So enter California this year, worst fire season in the history of California, right? And I'm like, you know what? This is just too suspicious. Meanwhile, those islands down in the South Pacific that China's been making down there, and they just shot like a missile off or whatever at America the other day when we were over there, doing warning shots. And this is like open waters. It's international waters, you know. And I've said the whole time, I'm like, those look like staging points for a naval invasion of the west coast of California. That's exactly what it looks like. Not only do you take the main targets away from mainland where you have citizens and stuff like that, you put them out in the ocean where they can be targeted, where you're only going after military, but you're fueling weaponry and all that stuff. It's closer. You don't have to pull it out of China. You're already in the ocean. You just send a fleet over. You can send back supplies. What they would be needing to do with the West Coast is do a preliminary cleanup job. Get the citizens out of there, because what? America's got a gun behind every blade of grass, right? Maybe not in California, but once you start getting a little bit more inland in America, you better believe we do.
Yeah, I like the new saying about that is we're going to need more grass. You know, there's so many here.
Yeah, right? Well,
but yes.
But what it looks like is, you know, they would have to come in. They would want to clean out as many people as they could, because that would be a softer target zone, and you can make your stationary attack and get set up for a ground invasion of America, right? For if you were to hit the West Coast, and this goes along with some of the prophecies. So into California wildfires that we're in right now, and I'm like, man, these wildfires, it's either the hand of God or there's some suspicious activity going on. Last night, I'm listening to a video, and some firefighters call into the channel Nibiru News or whatever, and the guy gets updated on different things like that. So I was like listening to hear what it is, because I've been suspicious about the whole time. Lo and behold, some firefighters on the ground here that they're underneath some of the planes dropping, and it's not the regular red retardant. And I've fought fires before, and I know what it looks like and everything like that. I've almost had it been dropped on me, and it's even got a fertilizer in it, so that the next year it's green, grass goes greener. But you don't want to get it on you; it's super sticky and stuff like that. But it's a retardant, so the fire doesn't burn there, and it marks where it goes and stuff. Well, these guys are saying that this isn't that regular red fire retardant. It's sparkly looking and some other stuff when it landed. But when it went, the fire was getting accelerated, and it jumped about 50 feet, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. So multiple ones that have been, and I think they said like 15 years or whatever, fighting fires, they go in and talk to the captain, and the captain says, yeah, the BLM's trying some new chemicals out this year, we don't know what it is, you know, or anything like that. Well, one of the guys took it in, had a chem lab tested on the stuff, and we got the ingredients right here. It's sulfur, phosphorus, thermite, and sulfide turpentine, all right? Pine resin, all right? And sulfur, we know, is in fireworks and powder.
Pine resin.
Yeah.
Pine resin.
Exactly. Phosphorus, we know, is in explosives and fireworks and things like that. And then thermite is what they were putting on the I-beams for 9/11, you know, to burn it down easier. And if you do, you can take the normal fire and heat. It won't go through an I-beam. You put that on there, and it'll melt right through it, because it's an accelerant. They're putting accelerants on the fire, and the BLM's a part of it. It just goes to the whole deep state thing. They're working with them. The story about Obama selling or giving California and Hawaii to the Chinese already, because we're already in debt to him and stuff like that, but he's in with the globalists and everything like that. And the whole plan is to take out America. That's been the whole plan the whole time, you know, and we're literally seeing the groundwork for it take. How long can this go on? How much California do they want to take out? Will they go for the operation this fall? possibly the way things are laying here for the tribulation and the rapture, they might push on another year. They started a few years ago, and look what's happening in California. People are leaving out. Look at Napa Valley. That's where the fires were jumping around last year. I was thinking, man, that's judgment from God, because we know there's a lot of pedophilia and stuff that's involved there, and in that whole wine country area and stuff like that. It's pretty sick. So it's like, man, this is. And you know what? It's a combination of both. It's the judgment of God, because Mystery Babylon is going to be judged, and this whole thing is going to come crashing down. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes God allows things to happen.
Exactly. Meanwhile, I listened to Mark Taylor the other day for like 2 seconds, and he said that Revelations has been postponed. It's not going to happen, and you know, he's like, I don't want to be one of those doom and gloomers, because that's just a bunch of nonsense. Everybody's heard enough of that. So I'm here to tell the truth. You know, we got Trump in here. Everything's just going to be great. I'm like, that people are listening to this guy. It's like,
Revelation's been postponed.
I know that was the title. That was the title of the video. I'm just like, good grief, man! This guy's out of control. And it just reminds me of Jeremiah. He's the only one in there going, sorry guys, it's not this. And meanwhile, the rest of the fake philosopher dudes, they're telling the king, oh no, Israel's about to go through the blessing of a lifetime, you know. And then Babylon comes and destroys it. How ironic that now the story's about Babylon, Mystery Babylon, and it's about to get destroyed. And they're saying the same thing. Oh yeah, things are going to be great. Things are going to be great. Look over here. Meanwhile, everything's on fire. The whole thing's crashing down, you know what I'm saying? It's nuts.
Behind most of the nations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. Meanwhile, we still got the stuff going on over with Iran and Israel and the borders of that. I'm telling you, this thing is lined up for the tribulation to take off.
This fire thing, putting accelerants, that's a whole nother level right there. That's insane to me.
It really is. And I mean, they're bluntly doing it. And
people are gonna call firefighters that are calling this out and sending us off and getting it tested and everything.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to call them bogus and this and that. Look, these are the guys that are doing it.
I know, exactly.
They've been doing this for years.
Yeah, exactly. So they know what they're talking about, especially if they've been doing it 15 years, like they said, you know. And it doesn't surprise me, because, I mean, seriously, these wildfires are just out of control. And they have been the whole time, you know.
Yeah.
But the accelerants they're putting on, that doesn't surprise me at all. And literally, it makes me feel that that's exactly what they're doing. They're cleaning out the West Coast for a naval invasion, and that's what the whole South Pacific Islands are with China. That they're getting ready to come in, and the whole we're getting along with them, and Trump's keeping them at bay nonsense. It's just a front.
I'm surprised they don't have fluoride in with it too.
Yeah.
Just a little joke.
For reals. But yeah, they're literally setting it ablaze and the West Coast, you know, and it's nuts, man, because it literally looks like that's what it is. It's a naval invasion preparation, a staging point for a ground invasion of the West Coast, and possibly being taken out of America. And like I say, look what Russia's been doing over on the East Coast, probing the defenses of America. They say they got in and out. They got a bunch of nukes up there. There was just an article the other day how we're a little bit worried because they have tons of nuclear subs and they're up in the North Atlantic. Well, what's the prophecy that Manhattan gets hit? Even Obama hinted at that. And you know how they love to get the inside scoops on stuff.
Well, you know, you're going to invade a mainland, take the beach first, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
California's kind of like the beach.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what they would do. And the less people you have there, the easier it's going to be. Throw in a couple of missiles on the job, boom, and the place is going to be cleared out. But yeah, and people are fleeing out of there like left and right, you know?
It's worth paying attention to, that's for sure.
Exactly, and that's the point we want to bring out. This is definitely something interesting, and as fast as it's going, it could be something that they might want to do this year, you know? We don't know. We just know that it's really taking off, and it's going quick, and they're really cleaning that thing up. The whole thing's on fire, so we're season ever, you know? So it's very interesting.
Anybody who might watch this video that's down there in California, if you happen to have seen anything weird,
yeah,
let us know about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let everybody know about it.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know right into one of our channels or something like that, and we'll be happy to listen. But it's definitely something to pay attention to, and I've been suspicious of it the whole time, like I say, especially with what's going on in the South China Sea, because that does look like staging points for a naval invasion. Like I said, it's just a straight line for a West Coast attack if they were going to do that, you know. So
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's another thing is. Oh yeah, and the other thing that I wanted to talk about was Svalbard. And a lot of people don't know this, and I'm always picking up information wherever I can, but I thought it was very interesting. There's been a few people that I've got to read about over the past about 8-10 years, and a few of them have been Illuminati escapees. And this Svalbard girl, her story was extremely interesting, and she was talking about what she knew from inside, and when the whole thing goes down, America, we're not the top leaders anymore. Europe, so far, unless they change the plan again, Europe comes in as number one, as world power. Second is Russia. And they say Russia is because
Europe's kind of grouped like that as a world power, kind of.
Yeah. Supposedly that's what they have in mind. Europe's going to be ruled, and England is going to be in charge of that. So the king and queen, or the king and stuff like that up there. So the whole Prince Charles things and all that, or not Prince William and stuff like that, which is interesting because we've also heard that he has reptilian blood and the whole family does, and I'm not surprised at all. But anyways, Russia comes in second. And it's because of their military might. She said that any assassins and things like that, when they do their training, they usually get shipped over to Russia because they're best at it. And what they actually have in weapons is far more superior than what's allowed to be known to the public. They're actually really military mighty. Yeah. Third comes in is China, all right? And because of their population, everything like that, and the size of their army.
Huge army.
Very huge. Fourth is America. We're not at the top anymore. We come in at like almost basically last place because out of the top places in the world, we're one of the last. But she says we come in at fourth. So China and Russia teaming up to take us out of first place and put us into fourth, that goes along with what she's talking about from inside the Illuminati. And the whole story about what she talks about, it's very interesting because there's a whole bunch of inside things, There are the inside, she says that obviously the UN is a front for the New World Order, and when the time comes, they're going to flip the name. They're already the New World Order. They're just taking that front. And my buddy that had a friend in Ireland who was in them, he got in because he couldn't get in with his military, and he was in Ireland, and he got in with the UN. And he's like, they're the worst kind of filth ever. He's like, I had to get out. I was only in for a couple of years. They were the worst. And you know what? Something very interesting about the UN? U.S. citizens cannot join the UN. We're the only country in the world, right? Yeah. Canadians can, or if you're half Canadian and half U.S., then you can. But if you're American, you cannot join the UN. You know why that is? It's pretty obvious. Because the UN's designed to take us out. They're a part of the big plan, and they don't want anybody in there that could turn coats. And if you have any sort of country pride in yourself, they're not going to want that. And I believe that's exactly why Americans aren't allowed to be in the UN as being a UN soldier. Very interesting. It goes on to some more things like that. She talked about the different families, the 13 families or whatever, the elites and the Rothschilds and the Merovingians and all that stuff like that, and how these families are terrible, but they make the Rothschilds take the front of, how everybody's, the Rothschilds there, right? And of course they're bad news. But there's families, she says, are even worse that they know about, but they stay hidden. They make the Rothschilds take the front and take the blunt of all the criticism, and they allow them to do that because secretly they hate the Jews too, and they plan on turning on them. They're only allowing them to be with them a time, which sounds just like Satan.
It reminds me of the president being like 9 on the list of in charge,
Mm-hmm.
The Rothschilds, as powerful and as bad news as they are,
there's ones that are even worse, and the public doesn't know it. And it's just like Satan to say, yeah, everybody's weak, or even if you follow me, and then it's just like Star Wars, everybody's getting cut down. Oh, you're my number one guy. Actually, he is. Welcome aboard. And just like the Sith, that's exactly what it's like.
Speaking of the UN name, flip the name, flip the fences.
Yeah.
You're ready to go. That's all it's gonna tell.
Oh yeah, for like FEMA camps and stuff like that. And I don't know if we talked about it before, but I think it was on the same channel that heard the firefighting thing when Trump was down at the border down there making that deal in San Diego a couple of months ago. There was a little backdoor deal going on with Mexico down in Mexico. They were buying some metal, and they had the dimensions. They didn't say what it was. They just had the dimensions. 12 by like 15 by like 13, and then cross section. And it's pretty clear when you put the numbers together, those are guillotine blades. And they were getting extra ones, right? And they wanted them sharp, but they wanted them off the books, and they didn't want the transaction to go through America, so they were buying them through Mexico. And that was like 15,000 more of them or whatever. And where were they getting shipped to? FEMA camps, of course. Of course. We already know they got the guillotines. They've been popping up since the 80s when they first found them. And the cargo ship had one of the cargoes fall over. There's a guy up in Lewiston that was in the Army, and he thought they were for the terrorists, There's all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd heard some rough number, like each state or something got like 600 or something, or maybe it was
Yeah.
I don't know. But each state got like 600. I don't know if that's true at all, but some are bigger than others.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know these FEMA camps are up and running. When Jesse Ventura had his show and they went into them, they totally caught him red-handed in the whole thing. And we know the one in Alaska, just outside of Fairbanks, my buddy in the Air Force, he flew into it. He saw him. It's like totally active. Holds 2 million. It's the biggest FEMA camp that, as far as I know, that there is. 2 million people. You do not put people in a camp where they go outside and stuff like that, outside of Fairbanks, and expect them to make it through the winter. These are death camps. These are death camps. It's just like Hitler all over again. And you can see this stuff brewing. They are just staged and ready to go, and it's only going to take one thing.
They got these malls they're making look like a mall. They're not really malls. They have like watchtowers and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the stories with the Walmarts and what they were doing in them, you know, and who's running them. They're supposed to be in there for piping, and the cops across the street at like Texas Roadhouse, and he's looking on his Wi-Fi list. Department of Homeland Security hits across the street at Walmart, you know. It's like, what's really going on over there? And we know what it is. It's the same. The stories that are coming out about this stuff, it's all real. And they've been pre-planned. Look at Jade Helm 15, right? They do a couple news medias. One was over in one place, one was another. They did like 3, threw a flashbang grenade. Hundreds and thousands and maybe millions of vehicles and personnel equipment for war have been pre-positioned in places, right? And they look like the kind of stuff that would happen during martial law, right? And they do a little grenade here and a little grenade here, and then, oh, it's all peace and quiet. Like, oh, that's all it was. Why was everybody freaking out? Last time I checked, they didn't take any of that stuff back. It all stayed there. It's all pre-positioning. It's a guise. That's what it has been the whole time. So you got that. You got the UN, who you can't have any Americans in that are been secretly coming in here for a while. We've heard reports now for the past few years of Russians doing training in northern Colorado and Chinese in other places. I've heard of Chinese up in British Columbia probing the border up there. Meanwhile, they got the islands in the South Pacific that they got down there, and California's on fire with suspicious activity that could be lasers and other things like that they're burning it for a naval invasion of the West Coast. Meanwhile, Russia's probing the East Coast with nuclear submarines, and it goes along with the prophecies. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But the whole thing's lined up for disaster to happen, you know? And if the whole thing looks like the tribulation's about to start as far as I'm concerned.
Revelation isn't postponed. We just don't know when exactly. It's,
No, it's not. And it's taking off like a storm. And the only thing that I see with the Trump administration, and even if he is a good guy and everything like that, this is a song and dance. It always has been. It's a smoke and mirrors. Look over here. Pay attention to Russian collusion or whatever the stupid story is going to be. And meanwhile, real activities of like what just happened in New Mexico or whatever with ISIS camp getting busted, and they were training kids to do school shootings down there. And what about the FBI?
And that guy got left free.
Yeah, totally left free. Oh, it's okay. And they found a dead kid there, And what about the 800 FEMA camps that they know, or not FEMA camps, but ISIS camps and Al-Qaeda camps, stuff that are around the U.S. that are ready to rock and roll? What about all the ISIS that was happening a few years ago where they were sneaking across the border and putting in rock caves, RPGs and grenades, and then sealing it back up, you know? This thing's primed and ready to go. They got the whole thing on lockdown and ready to take off. It's at a moment's notice. And just like part of the Muslim plan, they have a gigantic jihad worldwide, and I think the big one is America, that when they get the call, they all activate at once, and they do it worldwide for pandemonium. Of course, we know the Albert Pike stories of how they bring in World War III. They use Islam to do it, which is the whole plan. And then ultimately, they cut out Islam and Christianity in one fell swoop with whatever technique they're going to use, probably aliens or something else, where they bring in their newest idea and the last idea, which is pure Luciferian worship of Satan himself. And that's the ultimate plan. And this was written out, I think, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but he wrote out how they would start World War I, World War II, and it's to a T. And then they said the Third World War, when they did it, and a time later, that they were going to use Islam to do it. And what has been used the whole time? I'm telling you, the whole thing's kicking off.
It's obvious how they plan to get rid of Christianity and Christians.
Yeah. Look at the persecution that's coming after us right now.
Look at everything that's going on. They're going to call it hate speech. It's going to become hate speech.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something you cannot do.
Another thing is Islam itself is taking that role. They'll wrap religion together in one big blanket and be like, look how it's extreme. This Christian's no different. It's like, Islam is plenty different.
Islam actually has some hate in it.
The whole thing is the word love is not even mentioned in the Book of Quran. And look at what Obama already said back a few years ago when he's like, look at what the Christians have done. They've killed tons of people. Last time I checked, that was Roman Catholicism. All right, and they've killed lots of people, 200 million Christians to be exact, or more. Look at all the babies they've killed. It's like you can't compare them because that's a false religion. It has been the whole time.
Anyway, how many did Obama kill with his drones? Anyway, just saying.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, what about starting ISIS?
Yeah,
the guy's pure evil. But you know what? We wanted to get this video out fast. I think we hit a lot of good points. We're flying a million miles an hour, guys. I just had a couple sips of coffee. I'm sorry. I'm going so fast. But I want to get this video out real quick and make the point about the West Coast and stuff like that. Just stuff to pay attention to, not to worry. If you're a Christian, you're already saved. You know where you're going. And we're looking for the rapture. And the way things are lining up, it looks good. But this information is helpful. Let people know to at least be paying attention and be observant of it. And you know what? I think that's an important thing too. So we'll catch you next time on the Elation. This is Jared signing off, and my buddy Chris here from Perilous Times. And check out his channel. He puts up some good stuff. And we'll catch you next time. God bless. See you later.
Take care.